Dharmabytes is brought to you by Free Buddhist Audio, the Dharma for your life. Our work is funded entirely by donations from our generous listeners. If you would like to help us keep this free, make a contribution at freebuddhistaudio.com/donate. Thank you, and happy listening.
Mara, the evil one, he hears about what's going on here. And then so he tries everything in his power to stop the Buddha to be from attaining enlightenment, because attaining enlightenment is anathema to Mara. Mara, who rules the samsaric world, the conditioned world, the mundane world. So before I tell you what Mara's tricks were to try to catch the Buddha out, I'll talk a bit about who Mara still is. So Mara represents all that opposes our best intentions. When Mara appears in the form of self-doubt, self-sabotage, self-hate, it may mean that we are making real progress. Our teacher Sangharakshita says, when you enter upon the way, then that spreads confusion in all that is negative in you, because everything that is negative in you is being defeated and thrown back. So according to Buddhist mythology, Mara, as I said, rules the conditioned realm, the mundane or samsara. And he's depicted diagrammatically holding the wheel of life. I don't know how many of you know what the wheel of life is, but it's a representation of what mundane life is like. It's got 6 realms, it's got various circles and chains of cause and effect, and it's a very complex diagram that if you get more involved in Buddhism, you'll probably learn more about it. But this big wheel is held by a monster, and that monster is Mara, and that monster represents death, destruction, dispersal, everything that makes things fall apart and die. Okay. So that's the conditioned. Now, I don't know if it's a term that's familiar, that you know what it means. Well, conditioned, obviously comes from conditions. And in Buddhism, nothing is fixed, and everything comes about because of forces that come into play at a particular time and then disperse at another time. So that's the conditioned world. And when the conditions don't exist, those things don't exist anymore. It'll go too far afield if I say any more about that, but hopefully when you get more involved in Buddhism, you'll learn more about that as well. Okay. By way of contrast, nirvana, or the unconditioned, is characterized by the absence of these forces. It doesn't mean that there is no death, because the Buddha died at age 85, but that death, instead of being terrifying, becomes an opportunity for spiritual growth. So Mara is not the equivalent of the devil in Christian terms. He is not so powerful. Instead, he's more of a mischief maker, even a god of a lower realm who one day himself will become enlightened. I'm talking about the myth. The forces that Mara represents just are. That's what life is, Mara dominated. We shall all die, all things will change and disappear. Sometimes we're relieved about that, like when we're in the midst of a painful state or an unpleasant circumstance, we're quite relieved that things change and aren't permanent. But Mara, mythologically and symbolically, has been dogging the Buddha's footsteps since his birth, trying to get the Buddha to be, Siddhartha, to follow a mundane ambition for worldly power, pleasure, and a life of ease. And we shall see here momentarily, on the verge of enlightenment, Mara pulled out all the stops to deflect the Buddha's trajectory away from the attainment of enlightenment. Enlightenment is a threat to Mara's realm. As Sangharakshita, our teacher, has said, Buddhism does recognize the existence in the universe of malignant spirits who are trying to obstruct the spiritual progress of other living beings, and which, of course, pay special attention to those beings who have attained or who are about to attain higher levels of spiritual development.
We hope you enjoyed today's Dharmabyte. Please help us keep this free. Make a contribution at freebuddhistaudio.com/donate. And thank you.